Okay. Welcome to CRT episode 15, Cold Hard Trash. I'm your host, Trashcan Jones.
And I'm Breeeeg, your other host.
Hey, it works out. I think I like that. Yeah. And then it lets them know you are the other host, de facto. You're not just Breeeeg.
And I keep my cadence for that first part.
You get your,
That's
and
what
I'm
matters.
Breeeeg.
Yeah.
Works out. The amount of times that there have been video game projects, especially like mods and just like indie games that have the development cycles of, oh yeah, you know, it's going to come out eventually, and they drip feed everything to where nothing comes out and then eventually it just goes radio silent. I feel like it's too common of a thing. It's super annoying. Would you agree with that?
Goes radio silent, so they never release it, or
They essentially never release it, or once they do, they like don't update it or do anything like beyond that, like they had said, like, you know, any kind of roadmaps.
The only thing that I'm really thinking of right now in terms of incorrect or like bad management of a game is Concord, which is that PlayStation 5 title that was, I guess, supposed to be a competitor in the hero shooter genre.
Yeah.
And then nobody played it, and then it, like, they're like taking it down after a week after investing like $1 billion into it or something.
And they're issuing refunds of people too. They're like fully pulling it down.
Yeah, I remember No Man's Sky had something like that too, where they had issuing a refund period. Maybe like original No Man's Sky maybe could be an example of that.
Yeah, but they came back and actually fixed it though. No Man's Sky had a
it was like it was a moment for them to realize and then do the refunds, and then they came back and fixed it.
Right. A lot of people just never come back and fix it, especially when it comes for like different mods and things like that. Once they, you know, release them and they build this community, and some of them even get like a lot of monetary support for doing the work that they do through the things of it, and then they just kind of, all right, take the bag and just half-ass the work. Real annoying.
Oh, I've also heard of when like the Fallout show was coming out. Apparently Bethesda updated a bunch of the Fallout games, and that broke a lot of mods.
Yeah.
That people had.
Yeah, Bethesda, they did that a couple different times. So with Fallout 3, I don't know if you ever know the story about this. I might have broken it down for you.
I know about the games from Windows Live thing, but
right,
and
and so modders figured out a way to patch around it and said, okay, we figured out how to actually play, you know, Fallout 3 on PC. We patched out the games for Windows Live check, because it would just like check your game files for if it had the games for Windows Live signatures, whatever they were, the .dlls that Steam has, but for them. So they were like, all right, we figured it out. And they started this whole modding community from there, basically. And all these different mods were based around having this version of the game that was made to this mod. Bethesda, randomly, without any announcement, updated Fallout 3 to where now games for Windows Live check isn't there. So now none of the Fallout 3 mods work, and the Fallout 3 will not launch from Steam.
they made it worse.
They just broke the game. They were like, don't worry, guys. Ah, shit. I smacked the table a little too hard.
Ripping Pip, Michelangelo?
Sorry, Mikey. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually learning this shit.
Yeah. Nice. Michelangelo's my favorite turtle. A little slice of pizza.
Just like me.
We were just eating
real,
that,
for
za.
real.
Yeah. What was I just talking about, though? What did I slam my fist about?
I think them breaking Fallout 3.
Yeah, breaking Fallout 3. Because it was going to segue into Fallout 4. So there's this Fallout 4 mod coming out called Fallout 4 New Vegas. And it's just one of those things where it's a project that's kind of going on ad infinitum, and people, I believe, have gotten some monetary support for it. I'm not exactly sure if there have been donations or not, but they routinely just stream themselves actually updating and working on like the mod for the game. So it's been like, I think 5 years at this point, probably more, that they've been working on it, but they just keep routinely streaming on it and updating people. So it's like, people want this to happen. It's like the streaming of it is a monetization of its own.
Yeah.
Just like letting people know, hey, we're working on it and it's not dead.
That's kind of why like battle passes are popular, I feel, because if you're gonna have a game like, and you know, some of these games like you might have a lifespan of multiple years, like having that initial sale is really not gonna get you the money to support updating that game and like creating new content for that game
Right.
over that much time, because your sales can only ever really go down.
Right, because I don't know if it's really like an era of sequels, but the time of video games where you'd make a video game and say, all right, that's done, put it away, time to make the next one, is kind of not the way that a lot of major video game companies try to go these days.
Yeah. I think it sort of makes more sense. Like, instead of creating a new entry for full price every 2 years or so, that everyone needs to hop onto to get all the new stuff. You just keep people paying, and then you update on one particular IP. Like, you don't need to start from scratch all over again. So, yeah, I think it makes sense. But I still hear, there's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 or whatever,
Yeah, they're still doing that. Some people are still sticking to the old ways.
Well, they're kind of doing both. They have battle passes for Call of Duty Warzone, right? And that's sort of based off of...
Is that a different game? I thought Warzone was only attached to a certain Black Ops or whatever. Like, it was only with a certain Call of Duty.
I wish I knew more about this to talk about it.
Yeah, right. I have no idea. I don't play Warzone or Call of Duty at all.
I thought it was attached to, just different Call of Duty games,
I don't know, because I thought
maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought multiplayer rewards transferred over to actual multiplayer and whatnot. It might be a whole separate thing, like just Fortnite competitor. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
I was thinking of something. I hear cricket.
I mean, the window's open all the way back there. It might be some crickets out in the field.
Or maybe it's just something squeaking in here. Who knows? Trying to regain my train of thought.
Shit. We forgot to do TV dinner research.
Oh, yeah, we said we were going to do that and then didn't. I think...
Only an episode late, though. If we do it right now, then we're not late.
I think I like the idea of having it on and off, on maybe us having, one, central topic on an episode and then just sort of bullshitting, because we do two in, one session, right?
Mm.
So we'll have one that we take 2 weeks to actually prepare for, and then one that's just full of bits.
I mean, technically, we take 2 weeks to prepare for both of them, ideally, right? You don't just try to burn everything in the 2 weeks in the first one, and then you're just like, all right, let's just try to run it.
Yeah, but if you have one thing like the TV dinners, which we don't know shit about.
Well, we're gonna know shit about
games. Oh, I know where I was trying to get. I think there's a couple basic types of games we got out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the deathmatch game modes, the objective-based games and stuff like that.
Sure.
I'm very interested in how Prop Hunt has sort of propagated through all these different games, because there is Call of Duty Prop Hunt. We just played...
Really? We just played, Deep Rock Prop Hunt, too. I didn't know Call of Duty had a Prop Hunt.
Call of Duty has a Prop Hunt, and you, have, a flashbang thing, and there's a timer where you'll make a whistle noise every so often.
Right, so they have to alert people.
Yeah.
It's a fun game mode. It's one of those things where it just became, there was never a game that made it. It was always a game mode.
There's no Prop Hunt game. It's just a bunch of games have a Prop Hunt mode, and that's...
Yeah, it was
fun.
created by the community.
I kind of think the Gary's Mod 1 might still be the best in my eyes.
It's the OG. Being able to just choose any prop that you want, rotate, lock, being able to have custom taunts. It's it's nuts.
I remember playing Prop Hunt, and I turned into one of those saw blades that they got from Half-Life, and then I just put myself on a pile of saw blades.
Yeah. Perfect. My favorite is bottle, and then you just go between two tires of a car or a semi-truck. You just you literally can't be seen except for one little thing at the very bottom.
It's too good.
It's too good.
But it's interesting, because I feel like Prop Hunt as a type of product, because Gary's Mod doesn't count there, because that's fan made at the end of the day.
It was made by a studio, Face Punch. It's just fan operated.
The Face Punch made the Prop Hunt?
Made Gary's Mod, then Prop Hunt itself was fan made. Yeah, the game mode within Gary's Mod. Yeah.
And how different modes, different versions of the game have different iterations, because you don't have the flashbang in Gary's Mod. But in Call of Duty and Overwatch, prop hunt, you do get a flashbang.
Well, that's the thing with Gmod, in you can just make whatever server rules you want. So yeah, the original prop hunt, no, it didn't. But there's, prop hunt has evolved. If you go back and play Gmod prop hunt now, who knows what you might have? You might be able to get the flappy fedora and fucking jump around, do triple jumps and whatnot. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe some people still play the vanilla prop hunt.
Yeah. But it's just cool to see like the way that these things are changing, from like a younger, like, just like created game mode to being picked up by like actual studios and put into their games, and like what changes do they make? And I think that flashbang is and the whistle are the two like most common things that some people might even find integral to prop hunt.
Yeah,
which I kind of do, which is what I felt with Deep Rock prop hunt, because it's like, well, there's like, I'm only going to be one item, I can't swap.
Right.
And
you can't run away with your flashbang, so you only get the one hiding spot, and you basically just have to stick there and wait.
And you don't whistle, though, at the same time. So,
can't.
like, these things kind of have to go together. Yeah, you can choose to make noise, which I have, but it's, if they're going to whistle and bring people there, that means that you need counterplay to your own whistle, which would either be to, try and get ahead of it, and, like, if nobody's around you, you whistle and then you just go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Or having something that if you're in the same room as someone and you whistle, you have just an option of what to do. So I think it's cool that they the way these things are changing. I wonder if prop hunt isn't done being iterated on. Are there any other changes to the game that might be coming out in the next few years that we haven't thought of, that maybe become mainstays for the genre of the side game mode in all these games?
Yeah, I'm surprised that like Trouble in Terrorist Town hasn't become like a more popular amongst game modes, because it became a game. That's a game mode that did become its own game. It became Among Us.
Yeah.
So it like people now just, and to the fact that people now like call it the Among Us game. If you had a game mode in Call of Duty that was, the traitors or whatever, people would probably just call it the Among Us game mode. Trouble in Terrorist Town just kind of fall into the background. It's the ye old version.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the ye old version is Mafia.
Oh yeah, or Werewolf, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The card game, but
it's social deception games, which personally, I just got so tired of it through Among Us over the lockdown.
Once everybody found out about it, because that was the thing. Even like when Among Us happened, it wasn't like the first big social deception game. There was still SCP, like Secret Labs. There was like other things, other games like indie, smaller ones out there that had that social deception aspect to them. So it was around, and people were like already kind of, I wouldn't say done with it, but already familiar and in the pocket of it. And then when Among Us hit, it burned it out real quick.
Yeah, so I'm just not really into those games as much anymore, because it's like, especially like if you are not evenly matched or experienced with that particular game as someone else, like you don't know what the tells are that you're putting off.
Right.
Like, I remember playing with someone in Among Us where it's like, he'd come over and he'd watch you like do a thing. And he's like, "You did that too quickly. There's no way in hell. You're the guy."
Right, you're just too good. And it's like, okay, sorry. Yeah. But to that effect, though, the only times I played Among Us, the first time I ever played, I was the traitor, and me being so bumbling a fool actually worked in my favor. And I was able to get away with it.
The new guy.
Exactly. I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing with tasks. I'd just be sitting there for an extra long time, like, oops, I don't know, and then just kill somebody in a corner and run.
I still have fond memories of one of my favorite kills I got in that game, which was we all spawned, and there was an objective that everyone needed to do right next to the spawn. So we all ran up there, and I just everyone's there stacked in a pile.
Right.
I just killed someone.
Yeah.
And then they immediately
on the stack. Yeah, and they're like, all right, who did it? Who did it? Everybody was all in one place.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
So I got away with that murder. I don't know if I won the round, but I got away with that.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know. Social deception, deduction games. A little bit tiring. I did make my Steam name off of a joke I was doing while playing Among Us. Henry Grill.
Yeah.
Because, like it's like a spam message. It's obviously not a Henry Grill.
Yeah.
Behind the screen.
Obviously, could not be.
But, I'm deceiving you. Ooh. And I just still found it so funny that I never changed it. I was Ross from Shrimp for a bit.
That was pretty good. SHRIMP, like all spaced out.
Yep, in all caps with the Unicode character for the dot in the middle.
Then just that weird picture of Ross with like the long face. That's so good. Because before that, it was Ross from Friend. Just singular.
Yeah, because there wasn't enough letters in the name.
It's so good. That's my favorite. Just Ross from Friend, and then that picture pops up.
It's a show about a dynamic duo instead of a group of like 6 friends.
It's just his friend. It's just about him and Joey.
Well, I mean, they did make a Joey show after Friends ended.
Really?
Yes, apparently it did not do very well.
Like I said, never heard of it, so it makes sense.
It was just him. It was like Joey like moves to LA or somewhere to like, you know, do acting stuff, and none of his friends are there.
This is none of the comedy is there anymore. Why? Oh. Well, the identity of the TV dinner, or the identity of the inventor of the TV dinner, has been disputed. First publicized in 1996, retired Swanson executive Gary Thomas said he conceived the idea after the company found itself in a huge surplus of frozen turkey after Thanksgiving.
That's a good use of frozen turkey.
This version of events has been challenged by the Los Angeles Times, however. And members of his own family. Okay, so yeah, this definitely just an old dude who's just shooting off at the hip like, yeah, I made the TV dinner. I was the first one to do it.
I mean, maybe he did, like, frozen sliced turkey is not an entire TV dinner, but he probably, maybe he's equating the two.
In 44, William Maxon frozen dinners were being served by the military and on airplanes. Plain fruits, frozen vegetables joined together with the main course of potato. So yeah, it was a full dinner that was made back in the 40s, and the Swanson is fucking just lying.
Wow.
So take that. That's a little bit of history of the invention of TV dinners. Actually interesting.
Did you ever have
Swanson TV dinners?
Did you ever have a Salisbury steak?
Yeah, of course.
That wasn't in a TV dinner.
Technically, yes. I had it for like school's hot lunch, but it's basically just like a TV dinner that they make. Yeah.
Also, I was very quiet when talking about that because the mic was all the way down here. But whatever. I don't know if I've had a Salisbury steak outside of a TV dinner. Did they exist before? Do people make them outside of outside of TV dinners?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just like a way to cook hamburger meat, or a way to cook like ground meat. You just like cook it serve a hamburger patty with gravy, right?
Yeah. Well, we also have the chopped steak. Is that the same thing?
Chopped steak, I'm pretty sure, is just like a different cut of meat. Like it's specifically the steak cut of meat that you chop up, whereas ground beef is just any beef.
But it's also Salisbury steak, right? So, like, that also implies it's kind of steak.
Well, yeah, I don't know if Salisbury is like a specific type of meat. I think that's why it's given that name as a type of steak, because it's not steak meat. It's Salisbury steak, as opposed to just steak.
I see, like a green tea shot. It's not green tea.
Is it?
I don't know what it is. I don't know what is in it. I just know that it's called a green tea shot, and it's not a green tea. It's not made out of green tea. It just looks like it.
Okay, so it's not named after a type of meat. It's named after James H. Salisbury, an American physician who promoted the meat-based diet.
Oh,
so it's literally
OG
just like
keto.
Literally just like eat a hamburger as a steak. Fucking, that's his version of steak.
All right.
Throw some gravy on that meat gravy. Cover your meat in more meat.
Yeah, well, meat gravy's good. I don't blame
I love
them.
meat gravy, yeah. Especially in biscuits and gravy, get a little sausage gravy.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Yes, sir.
I like how easy gravy actually is to make. It's just you make a roux.
Butter and flour, whisk it up.
And then you put some milk on it. Or broth, depending on what you're going for. White gravy, you use the milk.
Yeah.
And then you put the sausage in there. You put, the gravy on your potatoes or whatever. It's good.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Gravy, even like speaking like with that, you can do like the gravy on the mashed potatoes like dinner style, breakfast style. Get that sausage gravy on your hash browns. Ooh. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
Did you ever have ham steak?
Ham steak, yes. I love ham steak.
That's good. It's very salty.
Yes,
Very salty form of ham.
I like a salty meat.
But when
Especially
the maple
ham.
syrup drips off of the pancake or waffle and makes its way over to the ham, heavenly.
Good? Yeah, I was going to say amazing. Yeah, you better not be one of those people that's like, the food touched. I can't eat it anymore.
No, well, so I've still eaten it, but I really, really hate it if the syrup comes off and touches the eggs.
Who cares? You just get some sweet eggs.
I don't like sweet eggs. I'm not in the mood for sweet eggs.
If you're getting pancakes and eggs, you're basically eating sweet eggs. If you take a bite of pancake and then before do anything else, eat egg, then you're basically eating sweet eggs.
I swallow after the bite.
Well, yeah, but even still, you got the sweetness in your mouth. It's not like you swallow and your palate's clean. You're not drinking water, swishing it around, gargling, be like, all right, clean. Now I can eat
you place
eggs.
the egg on top of it, and then it sort of like becomes egg instead, you know?
I feel like
as opposed to having the sweetness on the egg, which also the syrup might end up, unless it's like heated syrup and a heated plate, it might cool down the egg a little bit, which
it's
I
a little
dislike.
sweeter, but who cares? It's all going in the same hole.
There's some things I do want separate, but ham and maple is definitely good. It's like a top thing. I mean, I feel like I've mentioned this multiple times on the podcast, but the candied bacon stand at the mall, they know what they're doing. Like, if literally no one was buying it, they wouldn't have been open.
Right.
But
it's good. People buy it. It's that good shit.
Good old ham steak.
Maple.
The reason that I'm like a fan of ham steak is because I used to watch Dexter, the show with the murderer, not the
right. Yeah,
boy
not
genius.
the laboratory.
And in the opening scene, or like in the title credits or whatever intro, it's him. He shaves a little bit his face, and then he makes himself a breakfast of an egg and ham steak and orange juice. Then I'd see that ham steak and be like, oh, it looks so fucking good.
It's good. I need 2 eggs though. Ham steak, 2 eggs, and some OJ. Maybe even a little toast on the side.
Mm-hmm.
That's a complete breakfast.
Yeah,
Give me a little English with it too. Give me 2 egg or a toast and a little bit of beans.
beans. I'm a
bowl of
huge
beans.
fan of English muffins. English muffin is
Dig
my
'em.
number one, like, breakfast bread.
Biscuits, my number 1 breakfast bread. Gotta be. English
Biscuits
muffins
is
are-
good, but like biscuits is kind of like a meal in itself.
Yeah, it can be.
I don't really think
it
I
can
see
be
it
thick.
That often it was like I don't see how many different ways you iterate on it because it's mainly just the biscuits with gravy.
Yeah, but I feel like English muffins too. You very rarely see like actually made, like fresh. Is the other thing. Whereas like if you get a homemade biscuit, oh brother,
Yeah, a homemade biscuit is easier, I'd say. But I don't know, man. English muffin, get that shit in the fridge, pop it out, put it on the toaster.
What is it about an English muffin? Because personally, to me, they're a little bit spongy. I don't hate them. I like a breakfast sandwich with them, but they're a little bit like spongy. Even when you toast them a little bit, they just kind of have a weird pull and tear. Almost not really like pita, because pita's a little bit softer. It's a little bit like a stiffer pita.
I like that part of it a lot. The main thing
Yeah.
is how like open the crumb is on it and how easy it is to like get, like your jam and your butter.
Yeah,
on
it
there.
does. Yeah, like waffle style. It's like a super waffle in that regard.
And I will also say that like one of the best combinations of toppings on bread, biscuits, anything like that is butter and jam, salted butter.
Yeah, a little bit of butter, and then put either your syrup or your jam on it. Same with pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that really gets me with the English muffins, though, why I can't get behind them, is just the fucking crumbs everywhere nature about them. You gotta eat them in a bag.
That's the cornmeal that they.
You gotta eat them in a bag, or else you're fucking like, they dusting them off. Sucks.
Yeah. Wow. I also eat over a plate.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, especially if you get a breakfast sandwich, you're on the go, you know?
Yeah, I can feel that. But I mostly eat English muffins from home.
Fair.
I had a McMuffin phase, homemade McMuffin phase, where I use the top of a mason jar, the ring part,
Yes.
and then you throw that into the pan, and you put a little bit of cooking spray on it, and then you put the egg in there, and it's a perfect circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do that, get my turkey sausage, because, I don't know, it's good. The cheese, after I stack the turkey
Definitely.
sausage
Yeah,
and
get
the
that
cheese.
melted.
I put the turkey sausage and the egg one on top of the other, and then I put a cheese on top. Let steam for a second. Put it on the English muffin that has butter and jam.
Ooh, that's good.
It's very good. I would eat that like every single day. It's one of those things where like you're like, wow, this fucking rules. I'm gonna have this every single day, and then you get sick of it.
Yeah, and you just eat too much of it, and you're like, eh. That's especially that like a specific combo like that, you'd probably get like about it real quick.
I had a couple different jams. One of them, tomato jam, spiced tomato jam.
Interesting.
It was like ketchup in tomato form. Has one application: the homemade McMuffin. Nothing else I've ever put it on made sense.
I guess, yeah, like eggs would be the only thing. Like ketchup on eggs is kind of a gross thing, but I like hot sauce on eggs, and a spicy ketchup, it might be. I could see.
I like ketchup on eggs. That's just not my like number one way to go. A ketchup and hot sauce.
Yeah, just hot sauce. Ketchup is a little too sweet, a little too tangy for my eggs.
Yeah, but you can put syrup on the eggs. That's fine.
Well, I don't put them on the eggs, but if they get on there, it's just like, yeah, whatever. If I have like hash browns, I like to do a little. I like to do a little ketchup on those. Sometimes, if I don't have the gravy.
I like ketchup with the whole like hash browns and their corned beef hash poached egg combo. Poached eggs are probably my favorite way to have an egg.
Really?
Yes. That's another benefit of the English muffin is eggs Benedict is delicious.
Yeah, I feel like as much as it's like a good, like what you can soak up the egg with, like let's just go for a scrambled egg. Why are you trying to get a mess of an egg? Why are you trying to eat something that's a liquid and then just trying to eat it more? Just like cook the egg.
It's a beautiful yolk, though. Ooh. It's a much more pretty yolk than any other way that you.
It'll
make an
look
egg.
Beautiful, spread out and scrambled with some cheese and some parsley and everything in it.
We put so much work into separating yolks and eggs to create things like this, or like the 2 different cooking times. Over easy eggs, stuff like that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You need to separate eggs and yolks for like baking and stuff like that. That makes sense, but not for eating. If you're gonna separate the eggs and yolks and then eat them both, it's just like, what are you doing? Stop that.
I guess I don't really see people like separate them as much as like trying to
but keeping
just
them
cook
separate
them.
Is what I'm saying. Like
so that's what I disagree with. You are saying that.
Yeah.
It's just you want the runny yolk.
That's what I don't get. Why would you want a runny yolk? Why would you want something that even that's not like it's uncooked or anything like that? Like why would you want something that's objectively a little bit harder to eat? It's gonna taste the same. It's just you're not gonna be able to drink your egg.
When you want the jammy yolk, what's your preferred yolk?
I guess the preferred would be like scrambled. Just fuck it.
If the yolk had to be separate, what is your preferred?
Over hard.
Over hard. That's crazy. I find that it's really easy to overcook an egg when you're aiming for that.
If you
then
overcook
it becomes chalky.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's just a shitty scrambled egg at that point, and you're just like, whatever. If I have to have the yolk, I might as well. You're basically getting a boiled egg. You get to smash up. Who gives a fuck?
I am a
boiled yolk.
I am a runny yolk enthusiast. I will die on this hill.
It's okay.
I'm also
like
a big deviled egg fan.
But I hate deviled eggs.
And deviled eggs,
away.
you hard boil that egg and you get the chalky yolk, and then you
and scoop it out.
Mix that up with mayonnaise.
Garbanzo beans. I'll throw up a plate of deviled eggs.
Disagree. I mean, you probably would. But the idea that it's trash, I disagree.
You would.
You're gonna eat them and you're gonna like it.
Ugh. Deviled eggs were one of those things that like I remember seeing in like cartoons a lot and just being like, oh, that seems like it'd be maybe a good thing. And I remember seeing them in real life and being like, that's I'm never going to be a thing I eat. I smelled them. I just like took a bite of one once and it was just right back out. It's not something I could swallow.
You can put some paprika on that bitch.
Yeah.
Chives.
Dude, trust me, my grandma is Polish as all hell and cooks every single like meal that we go over there like from scratch. The deviled eggs she makes are nothing short of immaculate. I'm sure greatest deviled eggs in the world. Paprika all over them, a little bit of like the green stuff. I don't know if it's chives or something. Just looks great. Plated amazingly. She has a specific plate for deviled egg serving.
I've seen those.
And I couldn't want to throw them up more. I tell her sorry every time. I like her potato salad, but the deviled eggs, they're not going to be coming. Not going to be coming home with me. No leftovers of those for me, please.
We have such different egg opinions.
Yeah. Opposites attract.
If we had every single type of egg laid out in front of us, we would each take half.
No,
we'd each have the half that we like.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We'd have the half that we'd like be preferred to. I've eaten like runny egg things before, and I can see if like when it does, like, oh yeah, I'll scoop the bread up. Like I'm not against it, but it's just not my preferred way because that's just again makes more mess, makes more of a hassle.
It's the mouthfeel for me though. That runny yolk.
That mouthfeel turns into lip feel, turns into face feel, real quick.
I tend not to get food on my face when I eat.
Well, I'm just saying with a runny egg especially, it can just explode in a way you don't like see maybe, or like you bite into it the wrong way and then it's just like all of a sudden.
Nah, I always defuse them before I
just
before I
quick
go for
pop
it.
Before you.
Nah, you take the fork and you give a little like slice on the top, and then you let it run out into the bread.
I see. So you just let it. Okay.
Yeah.
I get you.
Popping a whole egg into my mouth halfway in between my incisors and then biting down.
No, I feel like put it in a
fucking
sandwich
Russian
is what
roulette.
I'm saying. Yeah, you just like you're biting it and it's good, and then you bite like into the yolk and it just springs a little bit more because you were pressing. I don't know. It's happened to me before.
Yeah, I guess when I put it in a sandwich, I do kind of aim for more jammy because to avoid that. Or like I said, I defuse it.
Get in there with the bomb cutters. Just
Yeah. I've also seen those TikToks of so they get the egg, they separate the whites and the yolk, they whisk the egg white up into a foam, and then they cook that with the yolk put back into the center. They call it cloud egg. I don't want to eat one.
That sounds awful. I don't want that.
It's definitely something that I've seen done.
Weird.
Cloud egg. It looks cool. It looks pretty.
Yeah, I bet it's one of those things like Instagram thing. You take a picture of it, and it's like, ooh, neat.
Yeah.
Love that. I want to make pancakes that way. If you like separate the egg whites and then fluff them up to shit, and then put them back in the pancakes, even with the yolks, and cook them. Not like make sure not to deflate them. You get pancakes that fluff up to like an inch thick.
Yeah, the meringue cake.
Super nice. Basically, yeah, it just basically makes them little meringue cakes. Delicious. Okay, so there is a lot in this world that people disagree on. And you can go is from topics.
I disagree.
Like this one. You can go with topics all over the board of like crazy things of people like disagreeing on the smallest to the biggest things that like are setting themselves apart. Everybody is in agreement on what year it is. Sans like the crazy like super religious people who are probably believing like it's whatever. It's everybody's on board with the calendar. Is what I'm trying to say. Everybody's on board with what day it is. Everybody's on board with, like the times that are, everybody. How did we get on board with that? How did everybody get on the same page with a calendar and days and times across the entire world? Everybody was just like, yeah, you know what? Fine.
Well,
We're at war with you,
sure.
but we're going to go at war with you on what we call Thursday. We agree on what Thursday is. So yeah, we're going to war that day. It's like, what? Why did you stop there? Why didn't you just fucking... Why are you agreeing on the days?
Well, they're in a different time zone, you see, so it becomes Thursday for one side before the other.
Ah, the
so they get an early start advantage, because the other side can't fight back until it's Thursday. But I'm pretty sure China still has their own like year.
Really?
I think we agree on when the New Year is though, which is a bit more. Oh no, there's Chinese New Year. There's a whole thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a whole. I think it's like around our time though, isn't it? Like around the same New Year time, it's just like an extended period.
I don't
exactly
know. I'm actually gonna look up the date of Chinese New Year. I don't. So our clocks are from like a particular culture, not our clocks, but our way of dividing time into 24 and like 24 hours,
Right,
60
60
seconds,
minutes.
60 minutes.
I'm sure there's but how did that get standardized to where everybody accepted it? Because surely whoever made it had some enemies that were like, nah, fuck that guy.
Honestly, probably technology. I mean, you have a timekeeping device, and someone else takes that timekeeping device. They have to use how that thing is structured, right?
Huh.
January 29th, 2025 is when it's happening.
So it's around the same time.
And what Chinese year is it? I like how it's Chinese New Year 2025 when it's supposed to be a different year.
Is it though? Because I mean, I don't know if do Chinese Americans celebrate like the American year, but Chinese New Year time because they're not in.
I think that would be the case, yeah.
Because is China like on its own year system because like they're keeping people inside, like no, this is the real year. Don't believe what the outsiders are saying, type shit.
I don't think, and I think everyone is in agreement that we're just sort of like counting from different points in time because it is AD, right?
Yeah.
Like that is, it's not, it's in reference to a specific period or date that we're like, this is year 0. We are humans and we said that.
Yeah, but how did we agree on, as humans, what year 0 was? Seems like we don't agree with China, but how did we get on board with everybody else? Seems like we would have a lot more fighters of this. Like, no, year 0 was here. Like, how is this not one of the big things that people are disagreeing about? This is, I guess, one of the things that I'm so confused about. Because we disagree over the smallest and argue over the dumbest things of, like, even all to where people came from. Even though it's pretty much not really an argument, people still try to make the argument of a niche like, oh, there's no way we came from Africa. Those humans couldn't have originated from there.
But we definitely did.
Right, even though we definitely did. But how are we agreeing on year 0? If they're disagreeing on that level, well, we're agreeing on, no, it's definitely 2024 right now.
So
definitely September.
I'm just gonna say the British Empire on that one.
They just did the whole world that way?
They kept the calendars, and they owned like half of the world at one point. So they got a lot of people on the same thing, and then they stopped owning half the world. And what are we gonna do? Radicalize our time system? Like, how we count seconds? Like, if it gets us to the same place every single year, it's good enough.
Yeah, I suppose. Bigger fish to fry probably once the British rule is over.
Yeah, but so the year 4720 on the Chinese calendar is the same year as 5782 in the Hebrew calendar and 2022 in the Gregorian calendar.
Ah, okay. So that's something I forgot about. We call this the Gregorian calendar that we follow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the Chinese obviously follow their own Chinese calendar. People follow the Hebrew calendar as like more than ceremonial or tradition?
I think it would just be ceremony and tradition.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
because I was gonna say society won't like integrate to that and stuff, other than like holidays they give you off, but like not gonna recognize. No, it's not this month. It's this month. Like the tax people aren't gonna be like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Dates are dates, bud.
If you think about something like Excel, so they have like a data type that you put into certain fields, and the way that that's actually stored is it's like an integer for the day, month, year, and then a point after that, and then it becomes a double, and then that includes like the hour, minute, second. So, in the front half of it you got the day, back half of it you got the time of the day, and then you can take that integer and convert it into any of the calendars. You could redefine your own calendar so long as it's like capable of, so long as 1 equals year, and 2 like just follows the whole thing. You can convert it. Neat. Just like anything else.
Excel has that portability to it, just in case you happen to find yourself needing the Hebrew calendar.
Yeah. You might need to write a little bit of extra code for it, but it's not hard. You just look at what the date would be in the Gregorian calendar, and you say, okay, add this much in Hebrew. And bada bing, bada boom.
Neat. Speaking of, what would that be called? Like accessibility. We learned that Morse 2 dropped.
Yeah, I still don't know what that means.
Morse Code 2. They have backspace. They have capitalization. You can upgrade your keyboard, on Android at least, for, to different languages and whatnot. And one of the accessibility English languages is just Morse Code. That turns your keyboard into 2 buttons. It's just the dot or the dash.
I think that is accessibility. I mean, I don't know where else you'd put it.
It's in the accessibility features, yeah.
Who needs that for accessibility?
I don't know. Maybe you're just sending Morse code best. Maybe you're a spy. Maybe you want to play spies.
Okay.
It's just now this phone is accessible to you.
Because the whole thing about Morse code is that you only need 2 states to send a serial stream of a Morse code message.
Right? So it should be one button on off.
Yeah.
But instead you have, because the way touchscreens work, you just have the dot and dash. So you have to press on and press off.
I would love if that keyboard was just like a red button.
It's just one button, just a telegraph. That would be awesome. That's Morse 3. That's going to be there. That's working on that for the newest update. They stealth dropped Morse 2. We didn't even see it.
Yeah. Now everyone's going to be, I don't know, sending spy messages in ways that I couldn't read, but I couldn't read Morse 1 anyways.
They give you like the same, you know how phones will give you like the correct, like autocomplete, like, oh, you were trying to do this? They do that with the Morse too.
That's weird.
Right? I mean, it's like, were you trying to do
also...
... dash? We see you're doing dash ... This usually follows, and like they give you what the Morse like letter does, and while you're typing, they'll give you like guides of like, if you do one more dash, then you'll make P. If you do one more dot, then you'll make K. Type deal.
Well, a popular representation of the Morse alphabet is like a tree of, you know, like here's a dot, here's a dash. If you do ... or dash, like
right.
It gets this letter.
And it like
dot
dash.
dash.
Right.
So that's how you'd arrange it, and so it makes it pretty easy to predict like what other letters you might want to go for. And then I don't know, you probably just smush that together with regular autocomplete.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada ba.
It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat how just like it literally makes it as though like, oh yeah, just in case you want to use Morse code. Like, what do you mean just in case I want to use Morse code?
It's still that's what I can't get over. Is like, why would you want to use Morse code?
I don't know.
Because the code isn't a code that's meant to be like indecipherable.
It's
very decipherable.
Right.
It's meant to be used on a line that has only 2 states, and that's it. Like, that's the whole thing.
Maybe you're like doing an ARG, you know, and you want to just do shit like that. So you're making like little emoticons and hiding Morse code in them. I don't know.
I guess, yeah.
Yes.
But we have the option. And who can complain about more options?
Yeah, I was gonna say, when my motherboard stopped giving me the VGA DVI ports, I was upset. Even though I have not had a VGA DVA cable or whatever the hell it was, cable or monitor. In 10 years, I don't have the option anymore. See this right here?
No, it's very bright behind you and very dark on that side of the phone.
It's a headphone jack.
Nice.
I got the option.
That is good. So with the iPhones, when you buy the iPhone that doesn't have a headphone jack, they do give you a dongle, so you can use earbuds the same as before. It's just that you can't do that and charge.
Right.
At the same time, which I get why people.
I got the same
like
dongle because the Google earbuds are USB-C connecting. They're not aux connecting, but if I just got my own aux connecting ones, then I could charge.
You have the option.
Yeah, I have
more options.
the option. That's what I need.
So I liked the design of that crazy ass USB, like micro USB plus, whatever the fuck.
Don't think I've ever heard of it.
It's like a micro USB on one part, and then it like dips down a little bit, and then there's a little extra thing for like data. Or fast charging, or whatever. I don't know.
I thought that was USB-B.
No, I think. So we have USB-A, USB-B, USB-C, USB 2, which is a square. USB-B looks.
A USB-B is just like the D. No, I know it is that one. It's the little like flamboyant, the B. Oh, no, that's mini.
No, I guess USB.
I'm thinking of mini USB. Sorry.
Yeah, mini USB is a rarer one to find.
It's like phone chargers and stuff. We're back in the day.
I keep it for charging my TI-84 Silver Plus C.
There you go. Yeah.
And that's it. And I haven't used that calculator in a while. Good calculator though.
Yeah, TI-84s were the good stuff. Is that one of the ones you can get Mario on?
Probably if I like hacked it or something. Yeah, USB B 2.0 cable. I don't know if it's the.
So the USB Type B, just original Type B, is like the Hill Type one. That's sort of like an uppercase D, whereas the micro USB B is like the thin B cable. It's like the data transfer one. There you go. That was the one that I remember was usually used for like hard drives, like external drives, because it had extra fast data transfer speed.
That USB micro B super speed is the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
With the 2 segments to it.
Yeah, that was like I said for external hard drives. I think that had just extra speed for transfer.
Yeah, and USB Type C is the is that one that I was thinking of, the one that I use like to connect to a printer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I actually think my Scarlett needs that that type of cable. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I remember it had something different. Because you have the Scarlett, what was it, the 5 or 6?
6x6.
6, yeah.
They do it in multiples of 2.
Ah. Well, they have the Solo, so... No, they
Aside from that. Yeah. Well, it is a... I mean... Depending on how you set up the formula, you can achieve 1 with that. If it's like 2 to the power of 0, that's 1. But that's a reach that I'm going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these different types of USBs. Not very universal now, are you, bucko?
Yeah. Unfortunately, fucking Apple's partly to blame, you dicks.
Well, so there's the theory going around that in Europe they are forcing a standard.
There's not a theory, that is a thing.
The theory is coming.
Oh.
The theory is that in response to this, Apple would move to completely wireless charging.
Good luck, fuckers.
I mean, I have like a lamp that has like a wireless charging thing, and I've set my phone on it. It has worked.
Yeah. I've used wireless chargers before.
I don't know how I feel about wireless chargers because like what I do is I'll like take my phone and I'll put it on the thing in my car, and I'll have a cable going into that.
Right.
Right. And if it's wireless, then I can't charge while doing that. Kind of like how there isn't the earbud hole.
Right.
To like listen to music and charge at the same time, but like I don't really feel like that is that necessary in my life. Like when do I really need to do that? But when I have it plugged into a car, I'm expecting it to charge. That is some of my charge time. Like I'm comfortable with like having a somewhat like not charging it overnight because I'm gonna hop into my car and I'm gonna drive somewhere and it's gonna get like an extra 40-30%.
Right, because that's one of those things of like it may not be a whole lot of problems with just the phone itself with charging, but the problem is that the phone integrates into a lot of aspects of people's lives. Most biggest one is into people's cars, to where even before the iPhone was like a huge mainstream thing, people had USB connector, or probably right around the same time, people were getting USB connectors in their car, or car ports that would convert to USB connectors in the old cigarette lighters. Same way. And it was like, that is a thing that people have relied on and use, and if you just take away the USB functionality of a phone, period, like even any adaptability to it, then that sucks. Like people, like even if it's like, oh, my phone can connect to Bluetooth, like you're saying, that's some of your charge time. You kind of depend on that. That kind of sucks now. And phones or cars aren't going to have built-in wireless chargers probably until 5-10 years after those phones come out, until that becomes a standard, if it becomes a standard. So it's just you're crippling yourself a lot, I think, doing that. So I don't think that theory holds a lot of water. I think there's too much market share in having wires because there's too many other things that it integrates to.
But how much do you trust Apple?
0. I don't have any Apple products.
I think they might do it. It's crazy, but they might do it.
It's there's nothing to the wireless, reliability is just nothing you can count on is the biggest thing. Like you get any amount of non-direct feed, like any amount of Wi-Fi, anything, and it has problems to connect. If there's problem with the hardware in itself, and it'll have problems connecting to the system and things like there's just so many points of failure, so many more points of failure now that you have a wireless system. I just can't see how it would be feasible.
More points of failure, kind of harder to troubleshoot.
Yeah, because it's wireless. Like, there's nothing to troubleshoot. It's other than something's wrong with the machine, something's wrong with the server. That's the only two things you could do, and you just gotta kind of reset them both, turn them off, back on. Hope it works. If not, then you really got bigger problems, and you really gotta fucking figure out something in the code, I guess. Or maybe this device is just fucked, because technologies can be weird. You never know.
Yeah, like needing to update your TV.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I have a problem with my TV. It's an older model Samsung TV, and it says it needs an update of like 75 megabytes. And the TV storage, I guess, has a maximum of 45. So I don't know if it's just like Samsung TVs, like they got so much storage later in the future to where like they have 300 megabytes. They were like, fuck it, we don't care if we release a 75 megabyte update. All our TVs can handle it, except the ones that were made 15 years ago or 10 years ago, however old that is. Fuck it. So I literally can't use my TV other than the Hulu app. Because it just tells me like, hey, by the way, you're at a critical system update. You need to remove some stuff on your storage.
You should. Do you need to like hook up like a USB to it or something? Flash storage?
Probably. Yeah, I probably need to have a flash storage like thing for it. That might fix it. I really have to run my off a USB. At that point though, I'm just gonna get a Fire Stick. Fuck it. 'Cause who cares? Just run the whole TV off the USB.
I'm not
basically what I'm doing anyway.
I'm not the biggest fan of smart TVs, to be honest. Like,
they're convenient,
just in general.
but yeah.
Like, I like having the separate little box thing that does all the smart TV stuff, and like, you know, you can control the TV with the smart box remote.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when that, like, I get mine from Xfinity, right? And then if I like change plans or something, or if another one comes out, I can just return mine and get the new one from Xfinity. It's part of my package. It's free.
Right.
So I don't need to worry about it getting outdated like that because it's not integrated into my TV or anything like that. But that is also just sort of like leasing something.
Right. You're paying with that like every month your cable fee.
Yeah. Well, there is no fee associated with it, but that's probably baked into.
Right. It's baked into whatever fee you're paying. Yeah.
Well, there could have been a fee. Like, it's like a thing, you know. It says like plus $10, minus $10.
Right. Right.
That's what I get you.
I want something like that, but it would need to be like an AV switcher, because I've wanted an AV switcher for a long time, just something that would have like 8 or 9 AV inputs that I can just like channel outwards, connect all at once. But then if I could also get that to be like a smart technology thing, so I feel like that's might be a bridge too far though. That'd be sweet.
My remote for my Xfinity X5 can change the sources from the TV. Can change the volume of the TV, and if I can change the sources, that's basically like a AV switcher for as many AV sets I have.
Right, on the TV itself. That's what I'm saying. Like, I need the actual AV switcher that has like that 8 or 9 in the back there. I think it's 9, 3 for each.
The way that would work, one, I've seen that technology before back in the earlier 2000s.
Yeah, I've seen the AV switcher technology. If it was combined with smart technology to where I could also just, like, the same way I could plug in my GameCube, I could also just drop a YouTube video to the TV. Like, that same thing was able to... I feel like those are just two separate era of things where they never got combined.
Well, the way that it works with my sound bar is that... you know, my soundbar, I have like a separate remote for that and everything.
Right.
But in the settings of the X5, it was like, do you want to link other devices to your remote, such as speakers? Because, like, they predict that you'll need speakers.
Right.
And then, you know, it can send out the right signal for those speakers from the remote. Like, I could, if I put it at like certain spots, I'm pretty sure that I can send signal to the X5, but like if I tried to do the volume at the same time, that wouldn't work because I can't get the signal to the sound bar because of where I put the remote. So it's just kind of like, I mean, you know, you also bought like universal remotes before.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you typically have to program it somewhat to match a certain thing. It comes with like a big old guide of like all the things that it recognizes.
And all that, yeah. Basically all it is, right? It's like IR laser beam stuff, so it's probably just doing it at a certain frequency so it can recognize the beam.
It's just whatever codes that it's expecting to do certain actions.
Right.
You know. But yeah, basically all you would need is like to kind of show that that is a significant market of people having their own like AV switchers, people that have not enough ports on the back of their TV, and that's kind of like the hard part.
Yeah.
But you need to do that to the point that one of these other little boxes that you hook up to your TV that's supposed to also act as a universal remote has something in there to account for that.
Right.
And control that instead as an accessory.
Yeah. That would be even just the regular AV switchers or something like probably $200-$300 nowadays. So there's whatever that technology would be crazy stupid expensive.
Mm-hmm. I still think it's funny how people can download like the Roku app and like drive down the street and just like turn off people's TVs.
Yeah, and just doot 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 on their remote. It's pretty funny.
I remember someone did that to a projector in a class that I was in band class, and we were trying to put something up on the screen, and so someone just kept on turning off the projector, and the band director knew. He was pissed, but he didn't know who.
I was going to say, just everybody check your pockets. Who's got the Roku?
Yeah, it was just one guy that was doing it. You just download the Epson app.
That's funny.
Bada bing, bada bop.
I think that is enough time spent talking. We'll
Yeah.
call it an end there for this episode of Cold Hard Trash, CRT episode 15. I believe that's the one we're on. Thank you for listening in. If you enjoyed, please tell your friends about it. Spread us around with word of mouth. We sure would appreciate it. Leave a comment, leave a star review, however many stars you think we deserve.
Pretty please. Ooh woo.
Be sure to tune in Tuesdays for new episode drops. Till next time, though, we're out.